Hello, everyone. Before we get started today, I wanted to let you know, especially if you are one of my loyal listeners that is looking for a little bit more, I've created a paid subscription option for the podcast for 99 pence per month. On top of this being ad free and just purely being the essence of the episodes, I will be doing bonus episodes, some personal update episodes, and we'll also include any information, invites into any virtual workshops or online things that I do in the future. So if you fancy it, check out the show notes below with the link and enjoy the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Self-Improvement Project. I hope everybody is well. Recently, I've been on holiday and exploring different creative things, including doing a lot more writing. And on top of that, the messages and people that are reaching out to me, I just want to say thanks for that. I know I maybe say it on other episodes, but it's my favourite thing hearing from people, hearing their stories, hearing how this potentially helps guide them towards more positive thinking, more reflection, and just improving your life a little bit more. So thank you if you're one of those people that you've either written to me or I've chatted with you over the last wee while. Today's episode is called 2 Ways That Will Help You Let Go. Now, before I go into the content of these 2 ways that will help you let go, I think it's important upon reflection to say that one rule in life that you should tend to follow is if you're talking to someone who you feel needs to let go, it's not the correct advice to tell them to let go. If you ever think of a time where you've maybe been frustrated with something, or at a stage of your life where everything is annoying you or frustrating you, or you feel a bit stuck, if someone tells you to let go of everything, it's not that helpful. So in a situation where you're maybe giving advice, letting go is not the best thing to tell someone, and it's a bit ironic for this episode, but purely from a perspective point of view, hopefully this will allow you to, when you're in a position of maybe feeling stuck or frustrated, that these things might help you gain clarity and process some of that through the power of letting go. Now, I think from my perspective that I have and the experience of utilizing this, letting go can be one of the most important and powerful lessons that we have or that we can use in life. It seems at this moment, or in this current existence, that we're very self-critical as human beings. We have one of the harshest psychological setups of any species. We're constantly self-sabotaging ourselves, and that might come from a place of being not good enough, or telling ourselves that we're not good enough or even not enough. It can sometimes even feel involuntary how it comes across. And as a result of this, without even being aware of it, it makes up most of the daily suffering that we entail. Like I said, our minds telling us that we're not good enough. This voice can be a bit of a constant and go round in a cycle in our heads, again, through the subconscious of not even realizing it. And the first element of that letting go of things that are maybe a bit of a burden in our lives right now, self-acceptance can be such a key thing, such a crucial aspect of letting go. Self-acceptance is one of these things that is much easier said than done. But self-acceptance of who you are, who you have been, and who you are going to become are all skills that you can develop. They are traits that you can build, a little bit like resilience or emotional intelligence. The self-acceptance is something that, of course, it's difficult to reach and obtain, but it's definitely possible. What usually happens when we get towards this path of self-acceptance is we avert back to the usual path of comparing ourselves with others and falling back into that default mode of I'm not good enough. And perhaps this is for another episode to explore, but that bubble that we maybe live in, day out, of comparing ourselves is something that we maybe need to escape from in order to realize the potential of self-acceptance. Through this self-acceptance, you can manage your ego better. You can thank your ego for the contribution that they make towards the I'm not good enough, comparing ourselves with others. You can accept that. You can accept that as almost someone's opinion and then disregard it. By doing so, this allows you to become more self-accepting. So the first way of letting go is that self-acceptance. Sometimes that can also be described as a bit of self-compassion, showing compassion for probably how much effort that you're putting into your life to improve it, but also being easy on yourself, giving yourself a bit of a break. That self-acceptance that you're not perfect and you're not always going to be. That compassion that you would maybe show someone who was in a similar situation that wasn't you, maybe show it to yourself. Secondly, or this second point of a way to let go, is in the world that surrounds us. The chaos, the games, the politics that continually exist and are pushed upon you every day, again, is like a bubble. It's tough to escape from. It's tough to remove ourselves and detach ourselves from that. Sometimes there can feel like there's an element of helplessness towards this. You're never going to be able to win this game or these politics or this manage the chaos that will always exist. So there's a bit of helplessness there that we maybe need to accept and let go that it will always exist. Rather than the self-acceptance here, I would remove the self and just portray it as acceptance as a whole. You're always going to exist in this game of the human race, but how can you be at peace with that and enjoy the place that you hold within it? acceptance of the world, acceptance of others, acceptance of evil existing, and just letting go of it. It's that classic case of what you're in control of and what you're not in control of. We like to think that we are in control of these big pictures that exist within the world, and I'm not saying not to try, but there's a lot that you're not in control of. A lot of it does come down to the peace of mind that you have, that you are living the life that you can go to sleep at night knowing that you have done your bit and you can accept everything else. Again, way easier said than done. And ultimately, applying it is the toughest thing. That is why this episode is existing, in order to maybe assist or guide with that. I think as well it's important to acknowledge that it's okay if you don't have this mindset all the time. Like I've mentioned already, it's tough to escape from that bubble. It's tough to escape from this race and game and world that we are a part of. And this comes back to showing self-compassion. It's going to be okay. You'll be fine, and you're a good person. And it's okay if you aren't showing these really strong values or these really tough mindsets 24/7. There's going to be times where you dip, but that awareness is what's key. So, to summarize, it comes down to these two things of being able to let go. That self-acceptance, that self-compassion that we show towards that, and acceptance of the world, acceptance of others, acceptance of the system that exists. And to take action from that, I think one of the most helpful suggestions would be to create an environment that you desire. One that optimizes your mindset, provides stability for that mindset moving forward. Who are the people that allow you to accept the world in a positive way, that allow you to accept yourself in a positive way? One that is self-loving and accepting of everything. Removing that and those that are not helpful, not accepting, not loving. One that perhaps eliminates that chaos that I've talked about, that eliminates the games and politics that I talked about. An environment that appreciates the wonders of calm and peace that exist in the world and that you want more of. One that epitomizes self-compassion. Yes, it may seem boring if this is what we strive for, especially with the lights of glamour that exist with the best of the chaotic world that we live in. But is that suffering? Is having this environment going to make you suffer? Or perhaps a better question is whether that environment is going to create the right kind of suffering for you, the suffering that is worth it. Letting go is wonderfully difficult. It requires high levels of discipline to show that mindset and actually live and breathe it. A skill that, although can be learnt, many will never even get close to it. Never mind out with, but within as well. So I guess I would just leave you with the question today of what can you let go of today that will improve your life. I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you very much for listening. As I mentioned at the start, thank you so much if you've reached out. And I hope to hear from you all soon. Cheers. Hey guys, me again. I hope you enjoyed that episode. And if you're not ready for the Becoming Unstuck in 30 Days self-led course quite yet, why don't you try my free ebook I created? 5 simple steps to improve yourself and your life. I made this during the very first lockdown of the pandemic in the early days of the Self-Improvement Project. It's a quick go-to when you're feeling unsure what to work on when improving yourself or your lifestyle. And the great starting point if you're trying to figure out how to live a more fulfilling and simple life. The link for this will be in the show notes for you. Have a good one.